We all have to love Whoopi Goldberg, Stacey Abrams, and their whole mindset of rules for thee, but not for me. Welcome back, Craig.
Thanks for having me.
A nice shirt.
Thanks.
Same shirt you had on yesterday.
Isn't that weird? Duluth Trading
Did you put
Company.
deodorant on?
I did.
Good. Thank
Twice.
you.
Yeah.
And hanging out with us again today is the one and the only
Naomi Saylor. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. This is a whole new day.
Yeah, it's feeling bright today, just like yesterday.
No, we're
having
pretty
fun.
honest about it. We record 5 segments, and so we're on our second segment. So
We'll
we're
play
honest about
pretend.
it.
I'll pretend with y'all and pretend like it's another day. No, I'm doing good. I don't know. We're here again. We're gonna talk some more stuff.
yeah, and it's pretty interesting. I know everybody's gonna be shocked at this, but I was on an airplane, and this whole story came out. And CNN had this guy sitting next to me at CNN on. You can watch TV on the airplanes nowadays. You guys know that? I don't know
Some
if you
of
fly
them.
much, but
Yeah.
CNN and Fox and a few TV stations they have on an airplane. So he's watching CNN, and they're like praising Stacey Abrams about the whole mask thing that had come out, and she's like, we got to keep our kids masked, and then she's with a whole bunch of kids without her mask on, and all the kids are masked up. So just to have fun with the guy next to me, I turned Fox News on.
Sure.
First, just a very special thank you to all who have supported me since the beginning of the journey of just shining a light on difficult things, on hard answers. Thank you so much for doing that. This is for you. I'm Matt Logan, the host of This Matters in Real Life. Oh, hey, stay tuned at the end of this. I'll give you some more information.
He was watching CNN.
He was watching CNN.
Okay.
I
By
turned.
choice?
We found one of the 6.
He was doing it by choice.
We found one of the 6 people that still watches CNN.
I know their ratings are. It's terrible.
Completely
It's like
tanked.
90%.
Wow.
On the key demo. Yeah, down. It's so I'm thinking like, let's see if he says anything. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe
Sure.
not. I don't know. We'll see.
Could
So
be
I
a
turned
quiet
Fox
ride.
News on, and you know what they're doing? They have Stacey Abrams
Oh, really?
at the same time. So Fox News and CNN have
story.
Stacey Abrams on, but of course Fox News they had more information on that CNN did and all that kind of thing, and it got me thinking about over the years Whoopi Goldberg and some of the things. She's just interesting, and
I used to like the movies she was in, though.
she's talented. And that's a struggle.
There was some talent there.
Yeah, that's a struggle because she's so talented, and then people get involved. We were talking about yesterday, yesterday's podcast, that politics used to be completely out of any kind of sports, with the Olympics specifically. And how did it get so intertwined? An actor and a good actor and talented and all these things. How did she get so wrapped up into this? Does she need the money?
I would imagine that at one point the characters on The View were probably making some pretty good ching.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I can't imagine that their viewership is where it used to be, and I think people are hopefully opening their eyes to the cesspool that show has become.
Yeah.
Well, and is this even relative? Where did they film that show? And is it New York? Or am I wrong?
Well, I believe they're doing a lot of it from home yet.
Really?
I know I know recently,
Okay.
within the last few months. I don't watch it at all.
I think the video from her comments about the Holocaust, it looked like they were all in a studio.
Were they? Okay.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
I know
Well, they superimposed them,
when the quote unquote Omicron went around, they
was
were
that?
back. They were back in the Omegatron.
We're in a
Wait.
Transformer movie.
So I think they were back at home for a little bit there, but
But they're on their show without masks on, which is
Well, I
weird.
say that because it's like some of these people, maybe they become of a certain thought process or lifestyle because of maybe where they're living and who's influencing them. That's just what I'm kind of picking up, because you feel like some people, maybe they're done acting or being in movies and they kind of move on, like they still want to be possibly in the public eye or behind a camera.
Yeah, and if they make a big deal out of something, maybe what I hear you saying is that they feel their power and influence slipping away.
Yeah.
And so they have to come up with something that, it's like TikTok.
Right.
Like everybody's trying to be
Controversial.
viral, right, on TikTok
Exactly.
and not be themselves.
Right.
But, that's a whole different rabbit hole.
Well,
but-
and does this, are these comments being made by these people in the heat of the moment and they thoroughly regret it later? I'm sure there's a certain extent of that. I just,
She doesn't.
She
the
leaned in.
women on that show don't seem to truly. I mean, I think they've apologized on a few things, but they really don't seem to be genuinely apologetic for
Okay.
the comments they've made. And I also am not a viewer ever of The View, but obviously they make comments on a lot of political situations and
which receive
there seems
headlines
like
then.
there's no remorse whatsoever on anything that they believe or say. So to me, that says, well, that's your true opinions.
Right. Yeah, and she kind of leaned into it, even though she was getting pushback from her co-host. She just continued to lean into it. So she believes.
She kept digging.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. She just got a bigger shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Digging deeper grave.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they do these things. She didn't get fired. She got suspended. There's other people that have done.
Wait, 2 weeks
I know.
to slow the content?
I like it.
Well
Maybe
played.
that-
I've been
well
waiting
played.
to talk about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years. No.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Because Roseanne Barr for one, and just like you were saying, so many people have done so much less and received so much worse
Yes.
punishment
Yes.
from the networks.
Yes. Are we getting to a place where cancel culture is not going to happen anymore?
Right.
Is that what this is?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, they'll scream and yell. Well, doesn't she have free speech rights?
And then
Maybe that's, what I'm saying? But
Did
yet
she
they
get
want,
fact check on it?
I don't know.
And I think I've heard
should
the
get that
freedom
going.
of speech, but not the freedom of consequence.
Right.
So it's kind of full circle right now. Mm-hmm. But her consequences are much less than others in the same position.
They're very minimal.
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams, I think that's another thing that has been very interesting to watch, because I don't know if anybody knows who she is. I would assume so, because she ran for governor of Georgia.
Yeah.
And she continues, the last I knew of 2021, she continues to say she won the election.
Oh, so
That
she's
it
not
was-
convinced she lost.
She's not convinced she lost.
Interesting.
Right. And so, when
So she should team up with Trump
she should.
for recounts,
Absolutely.
legitimate investigations.
Yeah.
Oh, so she maybe learned that everyone's a winner? Is that because that's what we're teaching?
Right, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. It's pre-Trump.
True.
She ran pre-Trump 2020 and had been screaming that it was not fair, that there was fraud and all those
Wow.
other things. And they're like, look, you lost.
Sure.
And, there were investigations to my recollection. I didn't pull that up specifically here. And then you have her come out and say that, kids should stay masked, keep them safe, all these other things. And then she sits with a bunch of kids because she's reading books to them at school. And she doesn't have a mask on. And the kids do have a mask on. And then it's like, so these two people have control issues, I think.
Sure.
Meddling issues. So they're like, hey, do what we say, not what we do.
And there was so many in the picture that I saw. There's so many kids in that room. It wasn't like 20 or 10 or 5 just for a photo op or some, whatever they were doing. To me, it was a big, full room of people.
Yeah, it looked like
And
a full classroom, like 30, 35 kids.
Right. And I'm looking at it like maybe she wants people to recognize her in the picture, but maybe was that the purpose of not wearing it, or was there actually dialogue that says you guys all have to wear them so I'm safe? Like, was that the thing? What was the thing? Why did it happen?
Not very good.
I didn't do my research. Maybe is thick is, because and it irritated me a bit. So I just
It's not a good example of leading by example. That's for sure.
That would not. I understand what you're saying. That wouldn't make sense though, because the way that they come out with talking about masks, it's like so. What that would say in their science philosophy is that she's not protecting the kids. The mask is supposed to protect other people.
Sure.
That's what they've all been saying. For 20 years, I built furniture, custom wood furniture.
Nice.
And so I had to know all the, keep all the material safety data sheets and all those things. So what the masks do, what the gloves do, what all of that kind of stuff. And for 20 years, a mask that's an N95 mask would not even keep out sawdust that you can see, but it's going to help a virus.
Dun, dun, dun.
5% maybe. So I'll give them that. But a respirator with the big charcoal, Darth Vader type
filter,
mask with it,
And the big straps that you lock down on your head.
right, and it's fitted suction to, So sure, that would work,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Right.
So when you have that philosophy and saying, well, this is protecting other people, well, she just lost big time on that one.
Right.
She's like, she didn't care about the kids.
Right. Because the message got ruined that they've been preaching or saying all this time. Because if it really was the way they want it, she would have wore one too.
Yeah.
The photo op was more important than the kids' health.
So does this say that these two people are 100% or 90% out of touch with really reality? Let me put it this way. There are millions and millions of more people that are out doing everyday things, I guess, productive people, right?
That's right.
And they're saying hey, look, we're going to tell you what to do. We're not going to do any of it, but we're going to tell you what to do because we're really good actors.
Sure.
We're, is that what's going on here? I mean, how can you be so out of touch?
Go on Facebook, you see it every day.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe that's where our society has turned to. We talked about this off camera, right? Where we're getting communications back via social media, mostly successfully, I should say, instead of person to person or, even myself, I had a long distance relationship with my now husband, and we had primarily phone calls. And that was it. Yeah. We had to learn how to even really just after we get married, figure out how to have the in-person conversation as our biggest communication, because we were so used to the phone calls. Mm-hmm. And a couple of days ago, my husband even joked that we do really still talk best about just stuff on the phone.
Wow.
Because we had developed it so strong prior to, because he was 5 states away, 12-hour drive or 13 or so. Through Chicago, let's maybe say 15-hour drive at the time. So, I feel like there's the communication with humanity has screwed up a lot of things.
It really, so what's interesting is we've done it by choice.
Sure.
The algorithms they've allowed to kind of happen, we haven't educated anybody on it. Mm-hmm. Obviously I grew up without social media and things too.
Yeah.
And so, but I've made the choice to use it as a tool, mm-hmm. not as anything other than that.
Yes.
And, I've educated my kids on it. My daughter, who's mid-20s, she's mm-hmm. almost never on social media.
Sure.
And so she's like, I don't like it. You taught me well. It's not serving a purpose at all in my life currently, things like that. She'll go check on people every now and then, right?
Sure.
But for her.
Yeah. And
especially at her age.
Yeah. And she's a very driven young lady, so that helps too, but you do choose to do it or not do it. Right. But the thing for me is that there's so many people that are trying to be the actor Whoopi Goldberg, and they're doing things on social media and constantly they're trying new things
to
and
grab some fame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I get criticism on that. And frankly, I get people, especially when I first started podcasts 2.5 years ago, I had people say, well, we'll sign you to come and do this on our network and things, but you got to do it this way.
Sure.
And I'm like, no thanks.
Conditional conditions
Right.
set forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Be super, you got to be super hyperbolic, and you got to be on one team or another and all those kinds of things, or tribe or whatever you want to label it.
Yeah,
right.
that
and
doesn't always work.
Like, I'm on the side of humans,
Yep. Absolutely.
so it's not going to happen. And that's just what it is. But I see people my age, they're trying to get viral TikToks and viral reels, and guess what their 13 and 14 and 15-year-old
They're doing that
boys
too.
and girls are doing. And you know what happens? All it has to do is get ratcheted up a little bit more every time, and we have Whoopi Goldberg saying that the Holocaust was not about race.
Desensitization.
Yes.
They don't know realities. They aren't studying. Even the fact that us three here, we know those two stories like almost instantly, shows you how much the media has control or has influence in our society. Because you have conversations with people. Did you hear about this? And it's like, it's not local. It's like someone nationally, or like these shows, isn't that interesting?
And maybe part of it is on social media, if you don't like what somebody else has to say, you just keep scrolling.
Yes.
And you avoid that opposition, where when you're talking to somebody face to face, you're going to have to listen to their viewpoint, or you have to be a jerk and walk away and not listen. But usually you have to hear all the other opinions. Social media, you can just keep scrolling.
We have gone from listening to understand to listening to fight.
Yep.
Listening to respond.
Not even respond. Listening to fight. I mean, you look at a lot of the things. I see somebody that will comment on something political. Let's say it's a Democrat on a libertarian. I just saw it a couple days ago, a tweet, and I'm like, what are you even doing looking at that in the first place? You
Right.
know you don't like it,
Right.
and then now you're just gonna tweet back at them, and you're trying to start a fight.
Right.
What purpose does that serve? Notoriety,
Pretty
fame.
lame.
Yeah.
Clicks.
It's pretty lame.
So it's like, that's enough, man. I'm gonna do whatever I can to expose it. And I'm so tired of it. I'm gonna wrap it up with this. She said that she would go and appear and do this reading, and this is quote by Stacey Abrams, on condition that everyone around her wore a face covering, including the children.
Does that include her?
No, just everybody around her. So that is extremely hypocritical, and that is extremely sad that she is not allowing these children
Right.
to express themselves. Look, I'll wrap it up with this. Here's what I have to say. There's two main things that people believe in the United States. That is creation, and that is evolution. Those are the two competing viewpoints, right? Evolution says what? What's the answer to evolution says what?
We progress from, well, it's the opposite of what the Bible says.
It is the opposite, but it says that the fittest survive is the bottom line, right? So evolution should form a mask on our face, correct?
Yes.
It's only been 2 years, though.
It should have been happening, though.
If we were
because-
intended to not
yes.
breathe through, our body should have changed and closed up our mouth and
Correct.
nose
Isn't
then.
that why we have
And I'm not
hair
debating
in our
whether or not
nose?
you believe in creation or evolution.
Right.
I'm saying these two belief systems say that we should not have a face covering, because creation we would have had one.
They would
And-
have done
Oh
its
wait,
job.
we do.
Yeah.
We have a nose that have hair in it, and we have all these other things in our respiratory system that helps. We have methods, and we have things in creation that I believe helps our system
Right.
operate. like creamer in coffee. Is that good for you? No. But the point being is that, you know, these two belief systems, when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, in my opinion, and you ask people these questions, and they say, well, we got to wear a face covering. You know, I say they're 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. You don't believe what you're selling.
Sure.
You know, that's my opinion on that. So she doesn't believe what she's selling. She doesn't wear the face mask herself. Mm-hmm. You know, all those kinds of things. It is a power trip for these people, in my opinion. I'm tired of it. There it is. Hammer the like button, hammer the share button. Thanks for joining us. Give us 5 stars or 7, whatever. See you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this conversation that I just had. I was very honored to be a part of it, honored to be the host of This Matters in Real Life. I think it's extremely important to cover a lot of different things and topics and get people's opinions. When my daughter died in the car crash 10 years ago, I said that's what I would do. I would look at the answers, I would look at the truth, and I would make sure that they would intersect. They would not divorce each other. It's so often that we want answers that are not the truth. We want answers that are comfortable. We want answers that make us feel good. Well, there's a lot of things in life that is just, it's not the case. So who am I? Well, I am you. I'm no different than you are. I eat and sleep and, you know, all the different things. Same thing that you do. I hurt. I feel joy. I've had a lot of experience, probably just like you. I work hard, probably just like you. One of the things that you can do to support us is go to shinybrandmerch.com, where you'll see things like the sweatshirt that I have on. I'm a full-time, a truck driver. What do I deliver? Well, I deliver trucks. It's a little bit different of a gig than a normal truck driver, yes, but I am what would be considered a commercial vehicle transport specialist. So about 5 to 6 days a week, I deliver trucks. I get into a truck, I go 2,000 miles, I deliver it to its new owner, I get on an airplane and I go find another one. Nothing real glamorous unless you make it that way. And I've decided that I would have a lot of conversations along the way, and some of those conversations I'll be able to share with you. Again, hey, thanks for your support. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time.